What's up, guys? It's your boy Cyrex. Welcome back to the Freak Show. I know it's been a couple weeks, but here I am. Just getting something ready for y'all. This is episode 30. We're at episode 30, y'all, and we're gonna keep going for real. I know I keep saying that I'm gonna get back on this, but for real, y'all. You know what? To show y'all how serious I am, I got a new song coming. This is the official announcement of a new song coming on Black Friday. Black Friday, y'all. So be sure to pay attention, to just keep on just keep on looking. Just keep on follow the page, Cyrex MC, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, SoundCloud, Twitter. Follow it all. Make sure to keep up. I want to give a shout out to all my followers, all my fans especially. I definitely want to give a shout out to the fans. Fans of the music, fans of the Freak Show, all my freaks. Love all my freaks. I rock with all y'all. Wanna throw a couple of special shout outs here to my girl Elsie. Wanna give a shout out to my sister Leanne. You might remember her from a couple episodes. Give a shout out to the homie KJ. He was in a couple episodes too. He actually co-hosted one with me, or co-hosted two. Also, shout out to Koala. We did Go Up, and that video is gonna come. I'm probably gonna put it up. It's probably gonna go up in the next couple days. In the next couple days from the upload of this episode, you'll get that video too. I've already put up the part 1 video. It was from last week at Mystic Joint, or just Mystic. It seems to waver on what do we call it, but it seems the official name Mystic. But shout out to Mystic as well for shout out to David Kane for the Verse Fridays, giving us a space to do our craft, to do what we do. It's a good time up there. And I'll also be announcing out there that the song's coming out. So just, y'all are going to be the first ones to hear this. So, just keep up. Once again, just be sure to follow, and want to give much love to all my fans, to all my freaks out there. Shout out to the Last Second crew. Yeah, Last Second crew sounds good. All my people in the Last Second crew, shout out to y'all. I fucks with y'all heavy. I rock with you. So I'm not gonna give really details just yet about the song. I'm gonna tell y'all Eric Ria produced that. Shout out to my boy Eric Ria. Eric Ria produced it, and it's gonna be I've been listening to it, and it's insane. It is insane. So just get ready. Brace yourselves, y'all. Winter's coming, even though it's coming out in fall. Happy early Thanksgiving. You're welcome. Yo, but for real, I'm excited. I'm really excited. All right, so first thing I want to go ahead and get into is, let's just go into it. A certain rapper with red braids, he got up on stage and fancied himself the audacity to just go and rally a crowd, basically to say fuck Joe Budden. Now, I thought all that stuff, had been squashed. I thought, they weren't gonna rock with each other, but that they weren't gonna go at each other either. I thought, it was gonna be just like civil, and they just don't mess with each other. But months later, we have this. Now, I'm sure many of you already know what's going on. For those that don't know, I'll do a brief rundown. Very brief. Alright, I'm all situated now. So, basic rundown. So, aforementioned unnamed artist. He is the first guest on Everyday Struggle. First guest ever. So, Joe Budden, he asks him, basically it becomes a fairly tense interview when the artist reveals that, after, in response to a couple questions, that he doesn't seem to know anywhere near as much about his business deal and about what all of his business deals as no, I think it's at the root his primary deal, like his record deal. He doesn't seem to know what the nature of the record deal is, what the exact nature is, whether it is a 360 deal or not. And with that, basically he put on or he displayed kind of a lackadaisical attitude. And so with that, and maybe things that have other sources such as, say, Dead End Hip Hop, shout out to Dead End Hip Hop, they have that crew, they basically have surmised that a couple of the comments made by the artist earlier in the interview, they started to kind of hit Joe Budden in kind of a sideways. They started to hit him kind of sideways. So, as things basically turned left, right at the beginning, and then just went straight downhill from there, with all this lackadaisical and just not really fully knowing what the whole thing is, what the whole business situation is. And all those things got Joe Budden very heated, or at least he appeared very heated, but he speaks very passionately. He's a New Yorker / New Jerseyite. So I don't know if I was fully with the level of anger he displayed, but I've certainly felt that way, in the face of some of these artists who just are out there on that coonery. So I feel him. But, everybody wants to be all, everybody wants, ever since the whole Cameron and Dame Dash on Bill O'Reilly, everybody, when somebody gets mad about something serious, like they clown him for getting mad because because he couldn't handle that he was being proven wrong. Bill O'Reilly couldn't handle that he was being proven wrong. So, when I guess people try to I guess push that kind of narrative on Joe Budden for being intense like that, despite the fact that he really just is trying to, put him on some game. Hip hop is so, this behavior is rampant in hip hop. We're so afraid to take some knowledge from an OG if we don't if we don't know him or something like that. Like, if we're put in that kind of position where you're being interviewed, because that guest spot is essentially an interview. They're essentially being interviewed. He was essentially interviewed by Nadeska, DJ Academics, and Joe Budden. That's essentially an interview. So the fact that he's put in that position with an OG, with somebody who's been in the game, for like 20 years, that's that. Like, I understand, if he just like coming at you with some holier than thou type stuff, then nah. But he's trying to put you on game, and you're just kind of acting like certain stuff don't matter, and like. So that escalated into the whole situation at the BET Awards that involved Migos. Rather, basically the whole thing, it was the same label. So we found that was all within a month of each other, I believe, or within a month and a half of each other. We all know what happened with that. The interview kind of went sideways from the jump. It was revealed in the very next episode, because they were doing, I think it was a Sunday show at the BET Awards. Well, I think BET Awards is on Sunday, but you feel me? They were at the pre-show, so they were interviewing all these artists. They interviewed what's it called? They interviewed Fat Joe. Who else we saw? I think they interviewed Mac Wilds. Who else? There were a few. Oh, they saw Dram. They interviewed Dram. Who was just like a super happy looking guy. And apparently super happy too. So shout out. They interviewed, who else? Oh my goodness! Some people are slipping my mind. I haven't watched that episode in a minute. I think I only watched it the one time. But it was interesting because it was like out of their it was out of their element. So it was interesting, but then that happened, and it was, no earpieces. So, Takeoff not really enunciating his words, and academics asking him the same question, having to ask him to repeat himself a few times because he straight up can't hear him. And Takeoff talking like, oh, he can. I mean, if he got the headphones, he can hear me, or if he got the earpiece, he can hear me. But nah. So then we saw what happened with that. When Joe Budden walked off the interview, he had enough, but that wasn't it's not what I would have done. I would have at least, just put it down, just maybe walked behind, or just, chilled for a sec, but whatever. So months later, by the way, that all stemmed from, kind of some pressing about, like, don't talk about that other artist again from the label. Apparently, like, there was a little bit of pressing about that. But Joe Budden really hasn't talked much about the artist since. He hasn't had the interest to. So fast forward to this past weekend at ComplexCon. Video all over YouTube of this artist receiving a Fuck Joe Budden hoodie from somebody in the audience, putting it on, and getting the crowd to recite Fuck Joe Budden in like this little da 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 Fuck Joe Budden. I mean, does he really need that attention? That was so desperate. That was so desperate. Like I try not to talk about this artist because I just don't like his music. But I mean, I don't know him. he could be a good guy, but I don't want to big up anybody whose music I don't mess with unless I mess with them as a person, but I don't know him. And I think his music is trash. I think his music is really bad. Now, for that reason, I don't, spend my time trying to hate on it. I just spend my time trying to listen to stuff that I like, watch stuff that I like, do stuff that I like. You feel me? That's another thing that runs rampant in hip hop and just on the internet in general. But I think that's associated with human nature because, as you learn in stats, people will tell a good thing to 2 people and a bad thing to 7 people. It just seems to be like somewhere in our nature. I'm not saying it's not in our nature to be positive, but there is definitely a prominent attribute of humanity as a whole that does like to focus on negative things. And that's why, there's all these TED Talks and all these, books and seminars and all that stuff on being positive, because being positive is a little harder for us. Being negative, obviously there's such positive people out there that being positive just comes natural to them, but again, humanity on the whole, it appears that being negative just comes more naturally. It appears. Because it's just so easy to just start talking about all the things that bother us, and it's cathartic, and so yeah, we seem to be in this cycle of just perpetuating things that we don't like and not using that time and effort to champion the things that we do like, because that's how the things that we do like gain some prominence. We start championing the things we do like, we might actually, hear Big Crit on the radio, right? Or Odyssey on the radio. If I turn on a radio station like by accident and I hear Odyssey, I'm leaving that. And I'm like, if I hear Odyssey on the radio, or Milo, or if I hear Danny Brown. If I hear Danny Brown on the radio, I would give radio just if one song. I don't mean like all 4 of them. I'm just saying one song from any of those kind of artists, like any of those artists that I'm really down with, an Action Bronson song on the radio, and I'm sure there's at least one station in New York. At least I hope there's at least a station in New York that's playing Action. I feel like at least college radio stations are playing Odyssey and Danny Brown, and I definitely feel like southern stations. There's got to be southern stations like in the deep south that play Crit. There's got to be, because that's the whole. He's with the whole culture of the bass and the subs and all that. He grew up like that. That's like, that runs deep. So I'm telling you, like, if we're talking about artists who they gonna be here because they show and prove time and again. Them on the radio, I might give radio another chance. But coming back from this almost 4-minute tangent, I try not to focus too much on artists I don't like. So, this is the topic now, so I'm just gonna make it fairly brief, but get out everything that I need to say on this. That was incredibly desperate. That was honestly, for somebody who takes a lot of pride in their business acumen, somebody who takes a lot of pride in their projected longevity, for somebody who takes a lot of pride in the people around them and, their their career and their career trajectory. That's pathetic. Honestly, come on. You just like, and then he's trying to like pass it off as a, but no, he encouraged it. He's trying to pass it off as like the fan brought the sweater. I put it on. Who the fuck told you to put it on? And then he encourages the crowd in their chant. So he saw an opportunity to re-spark a conversation about him, because as far as I know, his album seems to have flopped. It was this thing that like it was supposed to be a big album, because he had a lot of hype surrounding him. But here's the thing. As Charlemagne the God said, this artist is the poster child for whack rappers. And you know what people see whack rappers as? Whack rappers who, they're always getting into social media antics. Of which, his were actually honestly fewer and further between, so I'll give him that. But they look at it as kind of a meme. They look at it kind of as like a reality show. Like, they take this, they see this like stuff on Instagram. They only really want to see you on Instagram or on Twitter or on WorldStar on YouTube. They don't really want to, as far as artists like this, like, see, there's a serious difference in tier between like the meme rappers and like the social media rappers and the trap artists like Migos, like 21 Savage. Basically, these are guys who you may get swept up in their like lore, in their the things that they talk about in the songs, but what are you paying attention to? The songs. You're paying attention to the music. Like, you get all this, all my niggas got mad choppers, all this stuff in the music. Granted, 21 actually did have a couple antics, especially with 22. So maybe he was the wrong name. But basically, people pay attention to his music. So yes, the social media, that kind of stuff is, and the whole issue with Quavo and, was it Quavo and Takeoff, I think, or Quavo and Offset? I don't remember. But Quavo and one of the other two, they got into that altercation with one of their boys. If you got into something like that with one of your boys in public, y'all were probably drinking. Like crazy. Like really crazy. But whatever. In general, you're paying attention to the Migos for their music. So, it's different echelons, it's different tiers. We're taking, certain artists are more of a meme than music. Certain artists, as long as the meme can live, as long as there's life in the meme, or as long as there's life in the interest to gawk at you, you can thrive. But after that, once that's blown over and you're not really showing improving, and I'm not even talking about the numbers, hip hop, especially as the guys on Everyday Struggle, and I believe even the Joe Budden podcast, and a few others, everybody is very well aware that hip hop is a very numbers driven culture. Like fans are obsessed with numbers, you know. And it's like, how do you discern people? Because it's like the people who like the people who like the deep cut stuff, like the people who like the, you know, more organic, you know, more authentic, true, really with the music. It's hard to categorize that though. Anybody would try to make an opposing case basically to how they would categorize it versus how I would. So it's there's no point in me even trying to make that argument. But what I'm saying is, lots of fans in hip hop are obsessed with numbers. Everyone's talking about, you know, and I'm gonna use another example from Everyday Struggle. They help me out so much with this stuff. I swear. Yo, shout out to them. But something that people got swept up in a couple of years ago was J. Cole's third album, and the whole thing how it went platinum with no features. You know? So a lot of people, they try to use that to defend the album against people who weren't as heavy into the album, like me. I think that that's his worst album, genuinely. And it's just what he was talking about. Well, no. Do I really think that's his worst album? No, that's not true. I take that back. No, the one before that. It's hard because like they all just got. I just have a hard time. I like J. Cole a lot, but I don't know if I have an album like that I love front to back. There's songs on Cold World, The Sideline Story that I love, but I don't love the whole album. That single with Trey Songz, I don't like that one. You know, it's like yeah, no, I don't like it. What's that one? Breakdown, I didn't like that either. You can only listen to Workout so many times. I like it though. I love Rise and Shine. I know this might sound weird for people who know me, but I love God's Gift. That beat, and I remember reading the credits, seeing who was doing the guitars on those tracks. And on Sideline Story. I love Sideline Story. And I'm gonna put a song on the band. Yo. Dude, like, I'm telling you, even though that wasn't a perfect album, the good songs on that album are so good. So good. Now, I'm gonna drop a bomb on you guys. I don't know any of his mixtapes. Like, I know of them. I can name all 3 of them, but I don't know them. But I mean, I've always kept it 100 about that. You know, if I just don't know it, I just don't know it. In fact, I do kind of want to build on that in just a moment. But I want to finish out my little point about the sales. We're so into the sales as a culture. We love talking about platinum and the few diamond albums in hip hop. We love that. We love talking about how Outkast sold so much. But like, you know, all these casual fans, they know about how much they've sold, and they know the singles, but I mean, why am I fronting though? I'm pretty casual. I never got into Outkast like that. You know, they're another group. I respect them, but you know, I'm not too much into that. I think they're great lyricists, great rappers, great MCs, but just haven't been all the way into their albums, you know. Bringing this back full circle, though, they're remembered because of the music. These acts, these legendary acts, are remembered because of the music, because the music can stand the test of time, because the music can still be enjoyed, can still take people, either can help them find something new in their heart, or takes them back to an old place in their heart or brain. Y'all feel me? So, real good music like that, real music that just hits people in some way, shape, or form. That's the type of music that we champion for decades to come, and we'll see, maybe even centuries, maybe even millennia. Because with the advent of the internet, this stuff is gonna be around long after we die. So keep that in mind, everybody. But let's see here. I wanted to talk about a little topic that I kind of came up with. Not gonna lie, kind of came up with this in the shower tonight. So check this out. There's a lizard who's very clearly going for this fly up above on the roof. He's just there doing his thing, waiting for his turn. But check this out. So I was thinking about, how we're held accountable as hip-hop heads and as hip-hop artists. We're held accountable for knowing quite a bit. We're held accountable for knowing quite a bit of music, I guess that's weird. We're expected. It's expected of us to know quite a bit of music, and it's very expected. Certain albums are seem to be expected across the board. Now, y'all know this. There is a fuck ton of music. There is a fuck ton of recorded music on the internet. There's a fuck ton of recorded music available to be procured, basically, in some way, shape, or form on this planet. Just saying that exhausted me. You feel me? That's what I started thinking about, basically, was the fact that, I had this discussion with my boy Louis. Shout out to Louis. It's the homie right there. See that? I was saving your shout out. Shout out to Ariel too. That's the homie. That's his girl. She cool. Rocks with them. They're living their best life right now. So I fucks with that. I'm happy for them all day. So I was discussing with Louis once upon a time. He asked me, do you ever feel overwhelmed by information? To which I respond, I certainly feel overwhelmed by content. I think we maybe just said the same thing but understood it differently initially, or I understood him differently initially, but we definitely agreed. We do feel overwhelmed by both the sheer amount of information and content. And you don't get, yeah. My accent coming out. It's just there's so much right at our fingertips. You don't know where to start. You don't know where to go next. An internet rabbit hole is kind of intimidating, unless it's something that I'm like really into. And like I'm down to spend like that amount of time learning about that. It's daunting. It's very, it feels like a lot of pressure. Now, as far as content goes, where I'm going with this is hip hop has been around for decades. Hip hop has been around for, we're talking about 44 years since that first block party on Sedgwick Avenue. Shout out to DJ Kool Herc for pioneering and essentially opening up the Pandora's box, showcasing your talent, showcasing what you did to turn the phonographs into an instrument. So, shout out to you for that. Salute. Much respect, undying amount of respect. Thank you. Now, we're just talking about hip hop. Now, house and techno began in the 70s and 80s. If I'm correct, it was house that began in Chicago. I'm going to double check this, so my apologies to anybody from Chicago or Detroit if I mix this up. Okay, so house music originated in the 80s in Chicago. Techno in the mid-80s in Detroit. Okay. Now, that's decades. Rock and roll music has been, even though it essentially metamorphed into rock, into simply rock music. And then that kind of split off into lots of offshoots. Do we even call anything rock anymore? We just kind of just put alternative rock on it, or alternative, or indie. If they're mainstream, we put alternative. If they're not, we put indie. So, but that music has been around for even more decades. And jazz music, that music has been around for even more decades. Swing music and blues and all that. Gospel's been around for fucking over a century. I think by now, blues over a century as well. In fact, let's look up. Delta blues. Early 20th century, Mississippi. Oh, blues in the late 19th century, Deep South. The end of the 19th century. 19th century is the 1800s. So we're talking, let's see. Apparently we're talking, I guess 1890s, and everything seems to, they seem to start actually really messing with it in the 1900s, 19-teens. So we're talking about genres that have been around for hella long, and even genres that have only been around for the past 10, 15, 20 years, maybe even 5, less. What's referred to as mumble rap, which we're gonna go ahead and call that dread rap, or dread rap, dread hop, hair rap, hair hop, those are my labels for that. Basically, the hair hop, the hair rap, the dread rap. Because all these cats have dreads, or hair rap, because it's basically like the equivalent of hair metal. You know, it's all it's just all messy looking. It looks kind of their looks are kind of bubblegum popish, even though they got guns in the videos. You know, I guess that's the easiest way to be subversive. You tell me in the comment section. Anyway, where I'm trying to go with this, because I've been like building this up. So where I'm trying to go with this is, you know, you're gonna miss out on a lot of music. Even if you are constantly looking for new music, it's gonna be such a mission, such a bitch and a half to really just keep up with the sheer amount of music constantly being released and still be able to go back and tread into music of the past. You know, and that's just assuming you have a universal taste. Even within a genre, you know how long it would take to listen to all the hip-hop that you could assemble on record? You know how long it would, on record or on the internet, you know how long that would take? I have no idea. I'm sure it would take weeks. I'm sure it would take weeks, if not months. That's a fuck ton of hip-hop. So we're just going to keep it in hip-hop for the sake of this, because, I mean, let's be real, y'all know my favorite genre is hip-hop. My life is hip-hop. Hip-hop is my heart. So, basically, I guess I'll just put myself on this one. There's a lot of albums that somebody like me, somebody with my taste, would be expected to know. And I don't. I just don't. Be it because it just kind of came out before my time and I just haven't gotten to it, or came out around this time and I tried it out, wasn't for me, or just didn't listen to it, wasn't interested, or I just don't know about it. Now, here's something about me. And write this down, because there's going to be a test later. As far as my consumption of music goes, I really, really, really have a tendency to kind of stick to the contemporary. It's just easier for me. You know, to be honest, I'm not too deep on any of the albums of the artists that I was listening to when I first got into hip-hop. Wait, is that true? That's not entirely true. But like, I remember one of the first artists that I really got into, that really got me into rap, was 50 Cent. And when I was listening to that in the club, oof, loved that. PIMP, 21 Questions I rock with too. 21 Questions is really good. Wanks is good. You know, he's just a dope MC. He's just good. He's just a good musician, good songwriter. And so, I only really knew his stuff on the radio. I kind of tried to front like I, knew, like I was like really into 50, but I didn't really know much. I only really knew stuff only really knew a few of the singles. I didn't even hear anything from, I don't know any of the mixtapes. Oof, any of those like plentiful mixtapes, I don't know. Now, what was that other one? I mean, G-Unit in general, really, with the exception of Lloyd Banks' Hunger for More 2, which, the thing was, when I first got into, I've been into music my whole life, but, I wasn't into any albums. I didn't fully understand albums. The only album that I knew I was into, there was one album and one soundtrack. Keep it absolutely 100, y'all. This is exclusive. This is some diehard fan type stuff. This is some stuff that if you can tell me this, I know you a diehard fan. And you getting a hug on the spot. Well, I mean, you probably may have already gotten one because, I just feel inclined to greet a fan with a hug. At least a diehard fan. So, yeah. Shout out to my diehards. To my full-on freak rockers. Freak rock on, y'all. But I'm straying. So, this is exclusive info. The album, when I was, up until, as far as full albums, the only albums that I knew, that I was really, had a connection with, I'm talking about studio albums, not mixed CDs, because there have been a few mixed CDs that facilitated my introduction to hip hop due to Leanne and due to a cousin. So these were the two. I'm stalling, but these were the two. The album was Fulanito, el hombre más famoso de la tierra. I think that was their first album, but it was so dope. So dope. We had the cassette. I remember Perencumbia, Guayando, of course. Everybody, that's the first one. Or that's the first song that everybody goes to. So I don't like doing that. I like the deep cuts. I like using deep cuts. Everybody remembers Así que me gusta a mí. El Cepillo. I don't know if people know it by its name though. But also we have the soundtrack. That was the Batman and Robin soundtrack. That's right. I was a huge fan of the 1997 movie Batman and Robin. And you can hate on my movie taste all you want, because there's hella bad movies that I like. And there's hella mediocre movies that I love. And this is one of them. That's right. It just resonated with me. It's just stuck with me. And we had that soundtrack. R. Kelly, Gotham City. R. Kelly done fucked up. That's what he did. R. Kelly need to be in. He might need to go to an Arkham prison. But, back then, that Gotham City song, damn, R. Kelly, why you gotta be so talented and do all that stupid and do all that fuck shit? Come on. You done fucked up. That's it. You done fucked up. Too many. We gave you too many chances. Well, they gave you too many chances. But anyway, Bone Thugs. Look into my eyes from Art of War. Look into my eyes and tell me what it is you see in me. Can't tell me that song's not a jam. That's a slow jam. I mean, it's not like a dance. I mean, it's not like a rather dance with your partner slow jam, but it's a, it's a being in a little party, like with your people. Everybody got a red Solo cup in their hand. Everybody just bopping, Everybody got their little jacket on. It's a New York party or a Cleveland party. Shout out to both thugs. Crazy, lazy, busy, wish flesh all day. And DJ Unique as well. Who's, essentially the 6th Bone member. Produced all of Art of War, double disc album. Moloko, Fun For Me. It's also on this soundtrack. Fee Fi Fo, Fun For Me. The song sounds so, it's just wacky and so off kilter kind of, but it's really good. Arcana, House on Fire. Spend your time wasting mine. No. Jewel, Foolish Games. Wasn't really into that one, but I would still let it play. I remember we would, often just not skip it. I think it's Elliot Goldthwait. I think he's the composer of the... Was it Goldthwait? No. Soundtrack. Let me take a look at who it was. Elliot Goldenthal. Okay, did the overture. So yeah, that's all like the cool music that you hear in the movie. Revolution by R.E.M. Let's see. And then The End is the Beginning is the End, and The Beginning is the End is the Beginning by the Smashing Pumpkins. So let's see. Basically that was the whole those were the two up until honestly really up until I was like 15. Shout out to Delano for helping facilitate my interest in albums. And honestly, Regino helped foster that as well. That was around the time that we were in Multiple Assault. And we were doing, we were actually we would listen to full album. We were actually listening to full albums around that time. I was trying to get into the G-Unit album, the new one. It was Terminate On Sight. It was okay. That was also that's when I really got into Jay-Z. I got in all 10 albums under my belt, basically. At the time, that is, because it was, it was 2008. So Blueprint 3 hadn't come out. That's lucky number 11. And then more recently we have Magna Carta Holy Grail, and of course 444. So, I had his whole discography. Now, since everything has been removed from iTunes and Spotify. Oh no, it's on iTunes. It's not for streaming. You gotta buy the album. You can buy the album digitally on iTunes, but you cannot stream it on Apple Music. Come on, Jay-Z. Help a brother out. Come on. But whatever. Do you, bro? You already know how amazing you are. You already know, or you will know how amazing I think you are. So definitely, absolutely salute. 444 is definitely a top contender for album of the year. We definitely have two recent serious contenders. Rhapsody, Layla's Wisdom, phenomenal album. And Big Crit, Forever's a Mighty Long Time. Yo, that is a double disc album that it only feels like a double disc album because of the sheer length. But it's not in any, nothing feels like filler. It's not an exhausting album by any means. Unless you're just in a hurry. Then you should not have put if you're in a hurry, you don't put on a double album without like a plan in mind. Like if you're in a hurry, you go to a double album for one song. If you're in a serious hurry, like if you're just trying to get one song before you go into work or something like that, or you're just trying to like get in the zone, with your spouse or whatever, say you want to pick one song from a double album, you might want to get it poppin', so you might go to Hypnotize from Biggie. Or say you wanna I ain't got examples like that. Oh, say you want to just hear some bars, you put on Triumph by Wu. But you're not gonna be like, feeling impatient, feeling like something needs to pop more or whatever, and put on Wu-Tang Forever. That's just silly. But yeah, later on I did get into Wu-Tang at around 16 or 17 when I started getting into MF Doom and Wu-Tang. Loved 36 Chambers, especially all the posse cuts on that song. On that album. 7th Chamber, Protect Your Neck. Mystery of Chess Boxing might be it's between Mystery of Chess Boxing and Protect Your Neck, honestly. Shame on a Nigga, Bring the Ruckus. Yo, those verses on Bring the Ruckus are too hard. But 4th Chamber, it seems so organic and casual. It really does. So, having said what I have said, we're gonna just get into a little brief dichotomy of albums I've heard, albums I've not heard. Dichotomy is not really the proper word for me to use. I just want to throw out a big word. Sue me. So whatever. We're gonna get into, I guess, the 2 columns or whatever. So, Doom is an easy artist to start with. I love Mad Villainy. Absolutely love it, front to back. Rainbows, it had to grow on me. The instrumental tracks too, they had to kind of grow on me. But, just how the way the album just works, it is still kind of, peeves me to the tiniest degree that it is, even though it's only a 45-minute album, the tracks are super, they're pretty short. They're like, they average about 1.5 to 2 minutes. No, he's averaging two to 2.5 minutes. That's what he's averaging, because it's 22 tracks and it's like 44 minutes. So yeah, it's 2 to 2.5 minutes. And what's it called? It did take me a little while to appreciate some of the cuts, but at this point, I can say I love it front to back. I love food. I'm not that familiar with it though. I haven't listened to it that many times, so I like it. You know, love might be the strong word. I like it a lot. I think it's really good. I think it's great, actually. Shout out to Doom. I'm a student at Doom. But I don't know either Victor Vaughn album. Like, again, I can name them. I haven't listened to King Ghidra, nor to Operation Doomsday, or nor Born Like This. Never did any of the Mad Villain remixes. Love Danger Doom. Honestly, I think I got into Danger Doom before I got into Mad Villain, and I think the reason was the cartoon characters that they used. You were about to bite me. I think I just got a mosquito that was just right there. It was about to, either a mosquito or just some fly that landed there. Either way, I got him. Stay the hell, especially on my exposed skin. You stay the hell off it. Shit. So, love Danger Doom. Didn't really do Occult Hymn though. I think that really. None of them. Yeah, like I said, none of the Mad Villain remixes. I didn't do the Danger Doom remix, though it seems to be available. Didn't do the. What's it called? Oh. I do know the Neruvian Doom. I like that more for the beats. I didn't really like Bishop Neru as much. I do feel kind of bad that, like, you know, he had that opportunity. He had that opportunity to come through, like, to really show out, but I don't think they worked closely enough on that album. I think that because see what I know about Mad Villainy and the way it was composed, I should verify this information actually. But what I heard from Regino, shout out to Regino, I saved yours too. So they met up at the Stone's Throw house in Los Angeles. Doom immediately immersed himself in Madlib's music. Continued to revising lyrics and re-recording vocals for over a year. Okay, well that says it all. Over a year. So Madlib took off to Brazil in late 2002 for Red Bull Music Academy, where early cuts of Madvillain were premiered. Madlib took these photos himself, worked on beats. He had a portable record player, an SP303, and a borrowed cassette deck. And he made the music to that album. That's a producer right there. That's a musician. The two of them are musicians, and Doom was working on those lyrics and composing those song lyrics, those song vocals for over a year. Over a year to make 45 minutes of music that has been lauded as one of the best hip hop albums of all time. One of the best experimental albums of all time. One of the best albums of all time. Having said that, I don't know any of the Quasimodo albums. I don't know any of the Yesterday's New Quintet or Yesterday's New Universe, Yesterday's Universe. I don't know any of that. I know some J-Lib though, not all of it. I love J Dilla's the parts of the diary that I know. I realized that the diary, it didn't seem like people talked about the diary very much. So I don't even know if this is like a random album of J Dilla's to have gotten into. Look at all that. They can't even do it in the traditional way. They gotta... Okay, so wow, there is a lot of albums. There are a lot of albums here. Nine of which he got to release during his life, if we count Slum Village, Fantastics 1 and 2. And since his passing, rest in peace, J Dilla. My goodness. Since his passing, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think I just counted 16. I honestly wasn't paying all the most attention just now. The final batch was, what's it called? The Diary. And what drew me to it, honestly, was the fact that he raps all over it. But he doesn't produce all of it. There's production on here by House Shoes, by Wajid, by Knots, by Madlib, High Tech, Kareem Riggins, Pete Rock, Super Dave West, and Bink. Feel me? That's a set. That's like, those are serious producers coming together to honor one of the gods of production, one of the most innovative producers of all time. Of any genre. Any genre. Don't know much Slum Village. Don't know all that much Wu-Tang, even though I know, 36 Chambers. I know much of Wu-Tang Forever. I know some of Tikal, many of the tracks on Iron Man and Only Built for Cuban Links Niggas Part 1. Yes, by the way, I did say that, and that is the original name. It was supposed to be Only Built for Cuban Links Niggas, meaning niggas who wear Cuban link jewelry. But it was just Only Built for Cuban Links, on the official. Anyway, shout out to Raekwon, shout out to the whole Wu-Tang, witty, unpredictable talent, and natural game. I still love that. Liquid Swords is an amazing album, and Labels is my favorite song off that album. The capital is rugged slang, is Wu-Tang, witty, unpredictable talent, natural game. The way he just came at you, and the way, oh my goodness, when they was like, "Bah, these niggas got," he just comes in with it. Oh my goodness, it was so good, it's so dope. If you don't know Labels, if there's one, if I And I'm kind of this whole like bullet is gonna bring me to a very important point. Trust me. But I'm gonna run through a couple more. I know all of the Jay-Z albums. The only Nas album that I know front to back, or all the songs front to back, not like all the bars and everything, but at least I know the songs front to back, is Illmatic. So yeah, it was written. I Am and Nostradamus. I know several actually of the songs on Nostradamus, and they're actually really good. For being categorized his worst album, I mean, there's a lot of gems on there. Not gonna lie, I like Big Girl. You're a big girl now. Like I like it. I kind of like You Owe Me. I like You Owe Me. With Genuine, that beat by Timbo, you already know. Love Come Get Me. Love Last Words with Nishan. What was that? Now I gotta find this album. See what I got myself doing. Y'all know that these two albums were supposed to be. The reason I named them together was because because it was supposed to be a double disc album. It was supposed to be I Am Nostradamus. So let's see. Oh, and of course, you gotta love Nas's Like from I Am. Oh, I see. So he wanted to merge the aspects. Wonder what happened there. But yeah, I don't really know Stillmatic like that. I don't really know God's Son like that, except for a few songs. Yeah. I don't know Street's Disciple. I don't know what I was always like kind of intimidated by going into a Nas album. I was like afraid that when I was younger, I was just afraid that I wouldn't be entertained. I don't know what's stopping me now except the sheer amount of information. Let's see. Culture is the first Migos project that I listened to from front to back. I thought it was good. I didn't think it was great. Without Warning is the first 21 Savage project and the first Metro Boomin project and the first Offset project that I hear front to back, and I enjoy about half the songs. Oh jeez, oh my goodness, you scared me. Oh my goodness, I lay my head back and you just come out of nowhere. Yo, oh my goodness, Prego just startled me. Yes, we call her Prego. She's the black cat in the neighborhood. How you doing? Oh, you can't come up on me like that. Alright, I'm just gonna keep going. The God Box is the first David Banner album. The first David Banner solo album that I listened to from front to back. Because I did have Death of a Pop Star, and I did enjoy that album, except for, the homophobic lines. I really, when I came across that, I was just like, I was like stoked about that album. It's like David Banner rapping his ass off, Ninth Wonder producing his ass off. But to hear that homophobia in the music, I think it was only present on like one song. It was just like, it just kind of soured the experience for me. But yeah, every time I go back to that album, I skip that song. It's towards the end anyway, so. But also certain points, it just seemed a little preachy. Forgot to get in on that Nas and Damian Marley album. I absolutely love Little Brother Still Listening. That is a classic. You cannot tell me that's not a classic. Love it. I really like The Minstrel Show. That's their second album, not an actual minstrel show. If I found myself at a minstrel show, I'm not violent, but some shit might go down. No minstrel shows. Minstrel shows are bad. Innately bad. Everything about them is bad. And the fact that it was incorporated into the vaudeville shows, like, that's how TV got started. TV got started on racist pretenses. Isn't that crazy? I'm pretty sure anyway. That's what I understood. That's one that I really don't feel like, confirming at this very moment. But y'all remember that blackface was a form of entertainment? Blackface was a form of entertainment. So, I think I've named enough for this. No, you know what? I don't know any Cardi B except for Bodak Yellow and that song with Offset. I don't know any Remy except for the 2 singles and the remix. I don't know any Foxy Brown beyond some of the songs that I know on Il Nana and her features with Jay. Only person to guest star as a feature vocalist on. No, that's not true. Only person to guest star as a feature MC on all 3 of his first albums. The only other person who was not an MC, it was his guy doing the interludes, Pain in the Ass, who also did it for Volume 3 and came back for Kingdom Come. So then, goodness, you know what? Yeah, that's plenty of artists. Oh, I don't know a single Joe Budden album front to back. Not a one. Nor a Royce the 5'9" solo album. Despite the fact that no, that's not true. That is not true, actually. Layers and the Bar Exam. That's a mixtape. Bar Exam 4. That's a mixtape, but still. That's okay. My bad, y'all. Human. We count that as a Joel Ortiz solo because, he does get co-credits with Ill Mind, but come on. It's Joel Ortiz. But before that, nothing. And, Crooked Eye, actually, I've delved deeper into Crooked Eye. Into King Crooked, rather. But other than that, I have not listened to a Slaughterhouse album front to back since the self-titled debut album. With the one single that I low-key enjoy. So basically what I'm trying to get at with all of this is we place heavy expectations again on artists and on hip hop heads to just be, so chock full of knowledge that it's overwhelming. I feel like we should be, held responsible for knowing the history of hip hop. For one thing, just so we know about our culture and so, it'll help us know where to take it. And for another thing, so that we don't repeat the same mistakes that were made in the past. We're on our way to owning more and more of our own music now. Crit's on that now. He got away from Def Jam. Got himself into a better situation where he's holding on to, he's actually able to own his stuff now. So, shout out to him. That's what I'm trying to do here. Own all my stuff. I own all my stuff at this moment. And I intend to continue. Or all my music, at least. All the songs that I've released. With original beats and all. I own those. SoundCloud.com/CyrexMC. That's right, shameless plug, y'all. So, honestly, I feel like, yes, the music is the most important thing, but I feel like, it's harder to expect somebody to, be going back so constantly and just stay kind of in that space, in that musical space. It's hard to just expect that of somebody because you're not having really respect for what they're into. So, I might call somebody, I might say, call somebody out for liking somebody, but that doesn't remove their right to like them. I just think that that's trash. I just think that the music that the artist they like is trash. Just like I get to think it's that artist is trash. They get to think that they're awesome, and the world keeps going round. So that kind of thing, because there's always been a generational shift after a certain few years of basically some kind of sonic dominance. Ooh, that rhymes. So, it's like how the golden age shifted. It shifted, and I also saw this great video from Justin Hunt, the Company Man. Shout out to the Company Man, talking about the divergence in hip hop that occurred the day that both albums, Stakes is High by De La Soul and Illmatic. Not Illmatic. It Was Written by Nas came out. Now those two, they represented something totally opposite from each other. This was De La's first foray without Prince Paul. I listened to a full album without Prince Paul. They were on some new shit. At least sounds, they were kind of, they had to come through with it. So, they also maintained their, they maintain what they do. They maintain what they, their lyricism and their subject matters, their Afrocentrism. Afrocentrism. Their affinity toward knowledge. The affinity toward knowledge must remain constant. Versus Nas put out, it was written as a more commercial effort. He was trying to, sell more, pop more bottles, champagne, get smizzied, as Deezus and Mero say. Get smizzied. And, things diverge from there. But what I'm getting at is we gotta, make sure that we have some respect for the time period that somebody's growing up in, and what what kind of stuff in music is important to them, what kind of imagery with the artists, and what kind of things are going on culturally that are affected. Because what kept hip hop so pure for the first several years, in New York, was the fact that it was in New York. If it was somewhere else, they knew it from New York. And they started doing their thing, but these scenes were very contained. It was, everybody knew about the scene in that area. Everybody knew about the scene with people who were associated with it, or people who, but, I don't think there were just random people doing hip hop stuff in the 70s, or trying to do hip hop stuff in the 70s. I'm not gonna go ahead and define hip hop stuff. I'm just gonna leave that. I'm just gonna leave you to ponder on what hip hop stuff is. But what I'm basically saying is, and this kind of goes for me too, just being ready to lighten the expectations of, you should know this music because this music is considered classic by enough of the culture. That's awesome. That's good. That's all well and good. That does not mean anything about my life and how I would have come across this. If you're suggesting it to me, if you're basically trying to, if you're if you're just talking, don't talk down to me to make me listen to it. Talk up about this album to get me interested. That's what I'm saying. So we need to be more ready to do that. Like I'm out here talking about, every time I bring up No Name's telephone, I big it up. I say the same things that I said in that episode back a few months ago. I don't even know. I'll find it. I'll probably link it towards the end of the video. So look for that. But I speak really highly of it. I speak highly of his brevity. I speak highly of how she made sure to do so much in such a fairly short period of time. Got great producers around her who really know what they're doing, who really understand her and what she wants. She knows what she wants to bring. She knows what she wants to come through with. She knows how she's amazing. She's a poet, so she's such a dope rapper, such a dope songwriter. That's another thing. Like, people out here, y'all not even y'all young. Y'all fools. Y'all just foolish. Y'all foolish fans and y'all casual fans. Y'all be out here accusing MCs of not being able to write songs. Yeah, there's some people who aren't able to write songs, but that don't mean nothing. Just because, here's the thing. MCing kind of grew up. If we're talking, I'm going to personify MCing, the art of MCing. The art of writing these bars just kind of grew up on its own plane, separate from singing. Because, singing, it's the form of art for just about every other genre of music. They sing in different ways, but they all call it singing. Rap took that, twisted the shit out of it. It was derived from the toasting from Jamaican DJs. And that's DJ, that's spelled out Deejay, to exemplify that they are not disc jockeys. The DJ in dance hall seems to be what we would call the rapper. So I learned that through the extensive Jamaican community that I have near me, in the form of my stepdad's family, shout out, and in the form of my several Jamaican friends and peers. But back to this. basically just saying, yes, we should keep on championing the stuff that we like. Keep on championing the stuff that we see has moved the culture, has enhanced the music. Absolutely. Keep championing it. But, we can't be so harsh on people for not immediately folding into the expected ideals of hip hop. I love listening to the new albums that have potential to be classics, but they're recent. They're too recent to be, for the classic to be even entertained. So basically that's all that I got on that one. The summed up gist might be redundant. The gist is I like contemporary music. It's easier for me to get into just because I'm in it. I'm living it. It's like, you ever realize that we're living during hip hop history? Even if it's not a major event, the whole thing is history. So, it's just easier for me it's easy because of what I just explained. It feels more comfortable, and I'm more interested in contemporary stuff, contemporary music. It took me honestly a while to go back to Tribe. I don't really know Beats, Rhymes, and Life, or The Love Movement, or Disc 2, We Got It From Here, or Paths and Rhythms, People's Instinctive Travels in the Paths of Rhythm, yeah. Yo, that is a mouthful of a title. But anyway, back to, y'all need to get any comments and comment, yo. Oh my goodness, my consciousness is wavering. I've been a little out of it. But y'all, this song is coming Black Friday. Come on, get excited. Let's get excited. I'm already excited. You ready for this? And this is probably gonna end up being the second or third longest episode. Sorry, y'all. I take 2 weeks off of doing the podcast. I come through ready to talk. So, not even sorry, more like you're welcome. I rocks with y'all. My last second crew, you already know what it is. And you always gonna know what it is. So, I want to encourage you guys, go on YouTube. You're already on YouTube. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit the little bell to join the notification squad, and just get all the updates. Follow me on Instagram. There's even more updates there. That's where I have the most updates, honestly. Follow me on Facebook, as well as SoundCloud. Follow on Twitter. I'll be posting mad updates on Twitter as well. It's, mad easy. But then, I don't know what to say sometimes. So yeah, I'm going to be out here getting some stuff together. We're going to Mystic this week. So, got my bars up. The new song coming Black Friday 2017. Hope you're ready. And this is The Freak Show, episode 30. Thank y'all for listening. Thank you once again to the Last Second crew for making it to the last second. And I want all of you to have a good night.